This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted. Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity from the purge and shall not be harmed. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be unavailable until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. when the purge concludes. Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn. May God be with you all.
So a lot of you dipshit damn penny-waste son of bitches want to damn defund the damn police department. Well, I'll tell you what, we do better than that. Let's just do away with them altogether. Let's do a 1 month damn trial period. And let's let you deal with a bunch of redneck sons of bitches like me. Because I'm going to tell you something. People like me and my damn crowd, we don't own tasers, and we don't own rubber bullets, and we don't own damn all that penny-waste shit. We just have real fucking guns that shoot real fucking bullets, and we have a real fucking attitude toward dipshits like you. So let's just do that 1 month damn trial period, and let's see how quick it takes for you to want that fucking police department to come back into the fucking picture.
Protesters in Seattle have taken over a section of the city, essentially kicking out the police department. They have set up what they call an autonomous zone free from police, and they have released a list of demands. As you might imagine, everybody's weighing in on this, from the mayor to the police chief to even President Trump himself. First, let's run down exactly what this zone is, referred to as the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or CHAZ. Protesters in Seattle simply declared control over this area, and they forced police to leave the East Police Precinct on Monday. Police literally boarded up the windows and doors to the building, and they left the area. Now, protesters have spray-painted signs that read Seattle People Department and the property of the people on the building. The New York Times has described the area as part street festival and part commune. The mayor of Seattle has been mostly supportive. At a news conference on Thursday, Mayor Ginny Durkin said, quote, lawfully gathering and expressing First Amendment rights, demanding we do better as a society, and providing the true equity for communities of color is not terrorism, it's patriotism. Protesters who control the CHAZ have released a list of so-called demands, that is their terminology. It includes demanding the abolition of the Seattle Police Department, demanding that the federal government launch a full-scale investigation into past and current cases of police brutality, reparations for victims of police brutality, a retrial of all people of color who are currently serving a prison sentence for violent crime, demanding the abolition of imprisonment, generally speaking, but especially the abolition of both youth prisons and privately owned for-profit prisons, among others. The city's police chief, Carmen Best, seems to feel differently than the mayor, though, stating that the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone is creating danger in the neighborhood by slowing police response time to urgent calls. The chief also declined to condemn President Trump for his description of the protesters as domestic terrorists. As for President Trump, he has responded, calling out Washington Governor Jay Inslee and the mayor of the city, saying, quote, at Jay Inslee and the mayor of Seattle are being taunted and played at a level that our great country has never seen before. Take back your city now. If you don't do it, I will. This is not a game. These ugly anarchists must be stopped immediately. Move fast. Out, and she says, the chief does, that there are a number of 911 calls that they've had trouble getting to as a result of this.
Well, wait a minute, I'm confused. If the biggest critic of this is the President of the United States, isn't he the one giving speeches all the time, telling Americans how they should all have guns, and he's protecting the Second Amendment rights, and et cetera, et cetera? There's an irony here.
Well, there's an irony on both sides, right? So you have the president who is all for that, but at the same time, you have someone like Nancy Pelosi who's supporting it. But imagine if you flipped it. Remember those protests around the Michigan state capitol? Imagine if stay-at-home protesters with their guns locked that down and created checkpoints. They would have been calling for the military to come out in that case. There's so much hypocrisy on this. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, you know what? Great points. I'm glad you checked me on that because I hadn't thought of that. You're absolutely right. Wow. Ben Swan, as usual. What a fascinating story.
Everybody's trying to shame us. The legislators, the press, everybody's trying to shame us into being embarrassed about our profession. Well, you know what? This isn't stained by someone in Minneapolis. It's still got a shine on it. And so do theirs.
We've been hearing and seeing more and more of the slogan, defund the police.
It's been a rallying cry since the police killing of George Floyd. Protesters, activists, and some city officials calling for police departments across the U.S. to be defunded. It's painted in huge block letters on city streets from Washington to Wisconsin. But how would it work?
Stop treating us like animals and thugs and start treating us with some respect. That's what we're here today to say. We've been left out of the conversation. We've been vilified. It's disgusting.
We should be thanking them. Whenever there's an emergency, who do you call? You call the police. When your baby stops breathing, when your friend gets raped, when your dad ODs, when your husband has a heart attack, when there's a massive collision on the highway, you call 911. And they're there to help.
We don't want no more police. It's that clear. We don't want people with guns toting around in our community, shooting us down. You have an answer. It is a yes or a no. It is a yes or a no.
In a lot of different places in America, we experience very different realities with the police. Here in New York City, and I happen to represent the Bronx, I have Rikers Island here in my own district. And the New York City Police Department has a $6 billion a year budget. That is more than we spend on youth, housing, healthcare, and homelessness combined in New York City.
The bottom line, there are bad people out there, guys. There's bad criminals out there, bad American citizens, there's bad cops. We got to reform this thing together, and we got to look at each other's humanity. And I'm just afraid that the country, the wills, and us looking at each other as Americans, we're doing harm to ourselves right now.
But I read in the papers all week. We all read in the papers. In the black community, mothers are worried about their children getting home from school without being killed by a cop. What world are we living in? That doesn't happen. It does not happen.
I do not support the full abolition of police.
All right, get the out of here.
What do you think of this idea of defunding the police?
I actually don't think it's far enough. I personally believe we should abolish the police. I do think a radical change is what we need.
I am not Derek Chauvin. They are not him. He killed someone. We didn't.
Jess and Craig.